hopefully this time I'm at least in focus, because I get real sick and tired of talking to the camera for 40 minutes just to look back and see nothing but blur that I can't fix. Apple took away the sharpen feature in iMovie, and there's no fixing it. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome back to my channel, welcome in general, just generally welcome feelings to you. This is dumb, this is gonna be cringy to watch back. I don't even know how to start this meme review. So Hot Topic is haunted. End of video. Thanks. So let me start with a little bit of a preface. I am not like an avid ghost believer. I mean, I don't discredit anything. I feel like in this crazy world that we know so little about, absolutely anything is possible, no matter how outlandish it is. Like, anything's possible, right? Anything can happen. But, I mean, if I hear a strange noise in my kitchen or like I see a shadow, my mind isn't automatically going to go to, oh, the dead. That's just not me. Like, as much as I think it's fun to believe in ghosts and things of that nature, the logical part of my brain is just like, bitch, like, we know you got some trauma in there. That could be anything. That could be a you problem. And I'm like, damn, you're right. Now, there are a few things that have happened in my life that they are just undeniable. Like, damn, that really happened. And so those things I cannot explain, but hopefully, although I can't explain them myself, I can at least communicate them to you guys, which is what I'm gonna try to do today. And I'm gonna sound crazy, so let's get that out of the way. Hi, welcome to youtube.com/cokeandredrum. So ever since I started at my current job, which as you know is Hot Topic, that store gets weird. I mean, the mall is pretty old, but like, I feel like not that old. I don't know what could have happened in that store to warrant a haunting, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but there's been some weird ass shit happen in that store. I'm talking like things not just falling in the floor, but being like pushed over, and like when I'm in there closing and, you know, I'm in the store by myself, and we have a lot of very reflective things in the store, like the signs are like made out of plastic, the sign holders, and they're kind of shiny and they show a bit of reflection, and like there's a lot of lights casting down, and like the body jewelry cases and stuff, just a lot of very reflective surfaces. And all the time I'll see like something like walk past them, and usually what my brain is used to is like, oh, there's a customer in the store, like I saw them walk by, because a lot of people will come into the store and they're very quiet. You don't even really notice they're there unless you say something to them, like greet them, hey, how are you? And they're like, I'm good. So it's just weird to like see reflections when it's not my own and it's already after close. So I know there's nobody in the store, which would be horrifying because that's my absolute biggest fear. But I don't know, just weird stuff. And like someone that I used to work with, he said he saw like a box going across the floor one day. Don't know how credible that is because he also had some trauma going on, so we could all just be like crazy up in that bitch. Nobody really knows. But I am going to tell you about the one night that 100% some shit happened, and to this day, I don't know what happened, but it was weird. Okay, so let's get some good like spooky story theme music. Can we do that? Didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again. Alright, I can tell the story of that. Turn down the volume a little bit. Okay, cool. Okay. So one night, I'm closing, and back before we got our new register systems, now both registers are facing like towards the door, right? But it used to be you had one towards the door in this little corner and then one on the back side, right? So when you close, this backside register is the one that controls everything in the store. It's the one that's capable of running the end-of-day process, all that stuff, printing off the nightly paperwork, so you gotta close that one last, right? So you close this front register first. And then Hot Topic was all about a paper trail. They wanted to have, like, they wanted to have tabs on everything, you know, a lot of paperwork, a lot of like showing, hey, I counted the deposit, here it is, this is how much there was of each thing. You know, lots and lots of paperwork at the end of the night. So, when you go to count anything, whether it's the registers, the safe, like anything, we have these little, they're called adding machines, but they're like little calculators that they print off the paper. Like maybe you found some in like your dad's office or something and you just like to dig around on it a little bit. But so it's a calculator that prints out paper and shows like what all you calculated. So I have that. I close the register, right? And then once it gives you the deposit amount from that drawer, you take that and you count it and you type it into this little calculator, right? Like, okay, it says my deposit from this drawer is $400. So let's type in $400, right? So I take that and I move to the back side to close this back register. The amount for this is I don't remember what the amount was with the first register. I do remember the amount of the deposit from the back register. I don't remember how much exactly it was. I do know it was like $100 and something, like let's say like $187.62, right? It was something like that, like very specific. And then there was the one from the front register. So I have the front register deposit amount. This is a boring story, just bear with me. Let me get to it. So I have the front registered amount typed into my calculator, and now I'm finished with the back one, gotta count it, and then I would add in the deposit amount from that register onto the calculator and like add them together. So like whatever this one was plus 182, whatever the hell I said earlier, equals my deposit amount. That's the grand total. That's what I'm going to go dump at the bank at the end of the night, right? Okay, this freaking calculator, or whatever was inside of it, I go to like add the two together, right, to get the amount. There's all these buttons on here. You have like all these different functions, everything you can add, calculating tax, like it has a bunch of different functions, right? But there is no button on that calculator that I possibly could have pressed to like create this number this quickly. Like this was the weirdest shit I've ever experienced. So I go to type in the deposit, right, and I press one button. I'm just trying to add them together. I go to hit like the equals, right, and if it was something like else, I'd be like, okay, my finger slipped and I pressed the button by accident. That was not the case. Literally no button I could have pressed would have done this. But I go to add it up, and I swear my finger did not even like hit a button yet before it starts going completely fucking nuts. So I go to press equals, and then it starts like adding and doing all kinds of stuff and you know, like print out the paper. It's doing all kinds of shit, right? I don't know what's going on. I can't stop it. I'm sitting there just trying to turn it off. It would not turn off, right? It just prints out all this complete nonsense, right? Like just spewing out all this stuff and zeros and ones and all kinds of stuff. Like it was very like cryptic and like weird. So I have this big long receipt of paper that came out of this calculator with all this absolute nonsense on it, right? And then it just stops. It's dead silent. It stops. I'm like, that was weird. I go to turn it back on. Of course it won't turn back on. And then suddenly I give up and I'm like, okay, let's just get the money together. I have it over here. I'll recount it. I'll figure it out. Whatever. Think maybe take the batteries out. I don't know. Just when I have that thought, like I'm going back to it and I turn around and then it starts kicking on again, right? And then it's like pressing buttons again and starts printing off, and then it stops and it flashes. I shit you not. This sounds so fake. I swear on my life this happened. Okay, this is such a stereotype. It could have come up with any other number it wanted. I still would have been freaked out. But no, guess what number this thing flashes? Guess. I'll give you a hint. Ow. Okay, I'm getting too worked up and hurting myself. Of course, you guessed it. This motherfucker flashes 666. And it wasn't like 6.666, you know, something weird a calculator would do. There was not a decimal point in that bitch. It was just straight 666. Bam. Off. Click. Done. Out. Like nothing ever happened. I turn it back on. It works fine. I go in, add the deposit. Okay. I had to stop and sit there and be like, what the fuck just happened to me? Okay, like that, I had to stop and collect myself and think back to like every moment in my life and be like, fuck, this dead ass Do not forget this. This happened to you. This is a real thing that just happened. You just witnessed that. You're not crazy. That really just happened. And that's not even it. That's not even the absolute, like, pinnacle, peak, like, amazing, enlightening moment that I knew that there's some weird shit in this store. So all that calculator stuff happened, and I'm already freaking out. I'm, like, texting my fiance, like, freaking out, like, bitch, this calculator just... I'm texting my boss, telling her what just happened, and of course, my boss at the time, like, this kind of stuff freaked her out anyway, so she was like, honey, like, that's all you, I'm not closing on a weekday ever. So... that happened, and then, okay, the calculator's working again. I'm like, just calm down, like, don't let it smell your fear, because we don't know what this is. And so I just do everything as normal, and then there's one last thing to do at the end of the night, and you run the end of day, and it prints out all this, like, paperwork and stuff, and, you know, your analysis of, like, what times you made sales, and, like, your sales reports, and all that boring manager shit that I just am frankly... like, I'm immune to at this point. So it's printing that out, but no, it doesn't print out the normal paperwork. Again, this receipt printer, which has nothing to do with the calculator, it's not like they're connected in any way. It's not like this was a system malfunction that affected all the technology in the store, because that would be logical. That would be something I can get behind. No, that's not what happened. This thing starts printing out another, like, spew of shit, similar to what I had on that calculator, that is battery powered. Keep that in mind. It's printing off, like, essentially the same stuff, and it's, like, weird, like, not even numbers, not even letters. Like, it literally looked like the inside of a computer, like, printed out onto paper. Like, it wasn't anything, it wasn't English, it wasn't another language, like, it was completely undetectable. Like, some kind of super encrypted code was printed off on this, and it just went on and on and on, and it would not freaking stop. I'm like, did I just break the store? My heart is like, I can't breathe just even talking about this. It was so freaking scary. So that happened, and at this point I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So this finally stops. I'm standing there like, what the fuck did I just witness? And then it just suddenly, after it's done throwing its fit, it just spits out the regular end-of-day paperwork like nothing ever happened. Like, it was completely any other day. It's normal. So that's finally done. I'm like, okay, just get the money and get the fuck out of this store. So I'm wrapping up the deposit. You know, I got everything counted. I got all the paperwork I needed. I put that where that's supposed to go. I send the email to my DM, like, alright, here's our numbers. Peace out. I'm going home. This place is haunted. And on my way out, I'm, like, walking into the back room to grab my stuff. And then we have, like, this clearance counter there that has, like, a sign that says, like, clearance, buy two, get two, or whatever the fuck. And as I'm, like, approaching that, I see, like, a reflection, and it wasn't my reflection, because I could see my reflection there. It was another reflection, like, slightly behind me, like, against the jewelry cases as I'm walking by. And I saw that, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm out. I went in, I grabbed my stuff, like, I sent everything, I turned off the lights, and I fucking, like, booked it out of the door. Like, I just booked it out that door. And it wasn't, like, even, like, a panicked run. Like, I was walking briskly, like, but I was, like, scared that if I projected any type of fear that was inside of me, like, it would, like, latch onto that if it is, like, a ghost or a demon or whatever. But I got out, locked the door, and I was like, I'm gone. I was off the next day, so, like, I'm glad for that. But I'm, like, literally, like, trying to call my boss, like, bitch, what just happened to me? I was so freaked out. So... that was some crazy shit. Ever since then, we've had, like, weird stuff here and there, like, you know, stuff falling, and like I said, it's not like, oh, this plush just fell over. No, it got fucking yeeted, bitch, like, all the way across the store. Like, I've seen crazy shit, but nothing quite like that. Like, that changed me as a human being, because I'm like, I don't even know what's real anymore. I have no idea what even happened that day. So, that was some shit, and I just wanted to let you know that happened. For whatever reason, it was not my favorite thing to ever experience in my life. I also feel like that's probably not the craziest thing that I've ever experienced, on that subject, but When it comes to my other experiences, I feel like a lot of it could be written off as like hallucinations and trauma, because I was diagnosed with PTSD when I was 15, that's when I first got diagnosed. So obviously I've had like a lot of delusions and stuff, like things made up in my brain, or at least it could easily be written off that way, you know. There's at least some kind of something that could bring something logical to it, and then while PTSD doesn't just go away, I still have that, obviously, but I feel like now that I'm much older, that's one of the first things that has happened to me, like, in this part of my life, like, at the point that I'm in. So it makes it, like, much more believable, and it's not as easy to write off, especially, like I said, like, if that had just happened on the computers, okay, computers fuck up all the time. If that just happened on the calculator, okay, that's weird. Don't know where you got that number from, because that matches none of the numbers I had typed in, but go off, you know. Again, it could malfunction. Like, I don't know how it would, but like, it could, you know what I mean? But the fact that it was that calculator and the like computer printer, and neither of those things have any type of like reasoning to be that in sync, like it's two entirely different entities. You literally have a computer and a calculator. They got nothing to do with each other. What are the odds that they would just both act so weird in the same night, like within a span of 15 minutes? Like, that does not happen. So yeah, that was some crazy shit, and hopefully I can dig through all my repressed memories and hit you with some more crazy shit that's happened to me. I'll just keep getting them out as it comes to me. I wanted to do some story times. I've always enjoyed story times myself, but as I sit here and try to think of things I could tell you, I realize not a damn interesting thing has ever happened to me in my life. So hopefully I'll get more of this. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too long and boring. I know it was pretty slow there in the beginning, but I wanted to set the mood. Like, just a normal night, closing up shop at Hot Topic, and then a fucking demon comes up like,
"Hey, do you guys sell trip pants?"
And I'm like, "No, get out of my store." Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of breath. I'm spooked. I need to go to bed soon and go back to the place where the demon lives in the morning. So I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Have fun. Be safe. Look both ways before you cross the street. And I will see you next Monday. Bye.